Okay, so good morning, everybody. We're going to start this class lying on our backs. If you'd all like to come to lying down, and start with your knees bent. It's always a nice way to start, I think. Nothing too demanding. And play around a little bit at the beginning with the position of your feet so that you can just check in. If you slide your feet a little bit further away from your buttocks, you might find that your lower back is pulled a little, might not. And as you pull your feet closer into your buttocks, your lower back flattens, and you kind of want the perfect position so that you feel just really able to release down through the back of your pelvis into the floor, a sense of softness in the belly. And then take a few moments to arrive. On this beautiful, beautiful morning here in Lancaster. Notice at the beginning of your practice simply what shows up for you, what's here right now. And incidentally, if you feel like sliding your feet away, that's fine as well. You could have your body extended. But allow your attention to wander freely. And simply notice as you dive into your inner landscape, whether your attention is most likely drawn to physical sensation, are you curious about the range of sensations in the body? The difference may be between the left side and the right side of the body in contact with the floor beneath you. Or maybe your attention wanders to the breath. And for now, we're not trying to manipulate the breath in any way, but just noticing the sensation of your breath as it is right now in the body. Do you feel it most clearly in your right nostril or your left nostril? Do you tend to linger on the inhalation or luxuriate in a long exhalation? Do you notice the points at which the breath turns around? At the top of the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale. Or maybe you've woken this morning, or you've been awake for some time this morning and there's a strong emotion present. Maybe, like me, listening to Desert Island Discs released a whole flood of emotion. Or maybe you're less corny. Or maybe there are dominant thoughts here right now. And all we're doing in this long settling into the practice is noticing and welcoming everything in just as it is, without any need to change. And from this place of acceptance, of welcoming, maybe an intention for your practice bubbles up, something simple that you would like to focus on, something you'd like to take into your day, into your weekend. And can you allow your intention to inhabit your body? And now coming to the top of a full breath in, and holding the breath for just a second or two, and then with the mouth open, take a long sigh. And take two more like that. Inhale. Inhale. And then if your knees are still bent, sliding your feet away. And feeling the whole body extended in contact with the floor. And just notice how this feels now. The softness of all of the tissues in your face. And I'd like to continue with a bit of a breathing practice, but you might feel that you want to come to sitting. I'm going to come to sitting for this, but you might be quite happy lying on your back. We are going to move in this practice quite a lot, but I'd just like to bring some breathing in now. So make yourselves comfortable whether you're sitting or lying down. And I hope you're warm enough. Hi, Karen. Lovely. So just wherever you are, just settling into the body and feeling the length of your spine. If you're sitting, just releasing the shoulders away from your ears. And maybe closing your eyes or taking your gaze softly down in front of you. And we'll return initially to the sensation of a simple breath, just like before. Just the sensation of air in your nostrils. The little movements in the body as you receive and relinquish the breath. And then beginning a very, very simple count, so that you breathe in for a count of 4. You pause and you breathe out for a count of 4. And if you need to take less count, that's fine. You could count to 3. The idea is to make this very easy. And continue like this with Samavriti pranayama or equal breath. In our natural breathing, it's often the case that the inhalation or the exhalation is longer. There's a bit of asymmetry, and that's absolutely fine. But in this practice, we're intentionally equalizing each portion of the breath. And don't forget to notice the pause between the two sections, the point at which the breath turns around. And it may be that this number is just right for you to feel very calm and at ease. You might want to lower it, or you might like to now increase it to 5 or 6. I don't recommend going too high. I don't want any strain here at all. And if the mind wanders, which would be quite normal, just invite it back to focus on the count, on the quality of the breath. And you're absolutely welcome to continue with this equal breathing. Or if it interests you, just begin to add a couple of counts to the exhalation, so the exhalation extends. And some of you will naturally really love this extended exhalation and maybe allow it to drift off for quite a long time. And some of you may find that that triggers anxiety, in which case, leave it. And some of you might like to notice that the pause at the end of the longer exhalation also is nourished. Maybe you stay there a while, only if it's really comfortable for you to do so. And what do you find there? What do you find in this slightly longer pause when there's no movement of the breath? And are you able perhaps to keep your attention in the pause, even though the next breath in continues? So the movement of the breath doesn't interrupt your experience of stillness in the pause. And then in your own time, letting all of that go. And noticing what your natural breath feels like now and how you feel. And in your own time, and there's absolutely no hurry, meeting me again if you're sitting, lying flat on your back. And then if you'd all like to bend your knees up, oh, excuse me, just the right knee. No, actually, let's bend both knees up. I do apologise. So both feet are standing on the floor. And next time you breathe in, allow the breath in to begin to tilt your pelvis forwards. So you rock and roll over your tailbone. And allow your breath out to tilt the pelvis back so your lower back flattens against the mat. And continue in your own time with this very soothing pelvic tilting. And we've been doing this in every gentle class of this term. We're not trying to get anywhere, we're simply tuning into a little bit of mobility in the spine. If you do have any lower back or hip issues, they might be soothed by this, or you might become aware of them. And really allow the breath to move the body. And I'd like you to ask yourself, is the movement brittle or unsmooth? Or is maybe the movement very oily and smooth and liquid? And does the movement isolate itself in the pelvis only? Or do you notice perhaps that actually your whole body ripples with a movement that's initiated from the pelvis? So I can feel the back of my head rubbing on the mat. I can feel my shoulders moving. See if you can take a few more breaths, simply observing how this feels in the whole body. Can you feel the pressure in the feet? Absolutely wonderful. And now if you'd like to slide the left leg away. And as you inhale and still allow the pelvis to tilt forwards, allow the right knee to drop to the right. And as you exhale and flatten your back, the right knee lifts, sole of the foot on the floor. And continue like this. Inhale, the right knee drops out. Exhale, the knee lifts. All led by the tilt in the pelvis. And if you want to add a little bit of attention to the left leg, as you exhale and lift the right knee up, the left foot comes to vertical and there's a tiny internal rotation in the left hip. As you inhale and drop the right knee out, the left foot can also sympathize and drop out to the left a little. Really lovely. Take a few more again with that question about whether the movement is oily and fluid or whether you encounter any obstruction. And it doesn't matter, it's simply the quality of your awareness that is the important part of this practice. Wonderful. And then when your right knee is next up, slide the leg away. And take a moment to feel the body. So for those of you who haven't been to these classes for a while, I've been starting all the gentle yoga classes with maybe about half of the class with Feldenkrais or somatics movements, very gentle repetitive movements. And then we come into more traditional asana, physical postures. And these gentle repetitive movements are as much to release into the joints, release any tension in the tissues of the body, as they are to develop new neural pathways with the brain-body synchronicity. So if you'd like to slide the left knee up now, please. And we just do exactly the same thing on the left. As you inhale, tilt the pelvis forwards and the knee drops out. And as you exhale, lift the knee, the back flattens. And this is a practice in which less is definitely more, so there's nowhere to arrive here. The slower you go, the more attentive you are, the more you'll soak up the benefits. And then remember, you can also include the right foot opens a little as you inhale. And as you exhale, the right foot turns to vertical, tiny internal rotation in the hip. Lovely. And take a few more rounds. This is excellent both for the lower back and for the mobility in the hips. If you're stiff in the hips, this is really good. Notice if you're relaxed in the rest of your body, or if you're holding tension maybe. And then next time your left knee is up, slide the foot away and just take the time to notice and to rest again. And then sliding both knees up together. And you can bring your ankles together, if that feels comfortable. And placing your hands inside your thighs, inside the top of your thighs, or the middle. Lovely. And now we do both legs together, but with the tilt in the pelvis. So begin to tilt the pelvis forwards on the inhale and both knees drop out. And exhale, tilt the pelvis back and slide both knees together. And continue like this, sliding and gliding. Not pushing anything at all. And what I hope is that because we took a nice breathing practice and settling at the beginning, that you've been able to invite the quality from that practice into your experience of the physical movements. These movements should be pleasurable. If you experience any discomfort or pain, then you definitely need to either slow them down or open your legs much less than you are. Really lovely. And the next time both knees are open, just stay here for a while. Stay here for a while. Take your hands on your belly. Feel the rise and fall of your abdomen with the breath. Notice how you're feeling inside your mouth and the jaws. All the tissues around and behind your eyes. Lovely. And then you can use your hands to gently bring your knees together, soles of your feet on the floor. And then again, slide the feet away. And take a moment to enjoy the freedom of your body in relation to the support beneath you. The support. If you'd like to slide your feet in again, but this time take your feet a little bit wider apart. I don't mean mat distance apart, but a little bit wider apart. And I'd like you to keep your left knee vertical. As you inhale and as you exhale, allow the right knee to fall into the left. And then you inhale, you lift. And exhale, allow the right knee to slide into the left. But you're not rolling right over to the left, you're keeping the left knee vertical. These are tiny movements. And if there's not enough room for movement, take your feet wider apart. That might feel nicer. And what I forgot to say is, of course, we're still internally, tilting the pelvis. As you exhale and the right knee falls in, you're flattening your lower back. As you inhale and lift the knee, you're tilting it forwards. So these are very delicate internal rotations of the right hip after having done a lot of external rotating. And be curious about the quality of this movement. Is it restricted? Is it oily? So I'm seeing really, really great movements. All of your left knees are lovely and still. So let's take it to the other side. Just bringing your right knee to vertical. Inhaling as you tilt the pelvis forwards, and exhale, flatten the lower back, left knee drops into the center. And inhale, lift, and then carry on very, very gentle. It's always interesting to ask yourself what's the difference in the quality of movement between the two sides of the body. And ask yourself if you're trying too hard, and back off about 20%, make it even easier. Beautiful. And then allow your left knee to come to vertical, so both knees are up. And we're going to alternate from one side to the other. So inhale, and as you exhale, bring the right knee in. And then inhale, lift the right knee, and exhale, bring the left knee in. So you're kind of sliding from side to side. And if you can synchronize the pelvis as well, that'd be really great. Every inhale, you tilt it forwards. And every exhale, you flatten. Very lovely. Just keep going a few more. Ease your way in. So a real glidey, slidey feeling here. And at some stage when you're ready, allow both knees to roll all the way over now to one side. It doesn't matter which. And then slowly glide them back to roll all the way over to the other side. So what you should find here is that your one knee comes down towards the opposite heel. And if it's not doing that, you probably need to take your feet wider apart. And then see if you can join in with the head. So the head moves in the opposite direction to the knees. And aim to slow it down. Really aware of every millimeter of movement. No hurry, there's nowhere to go. And it may be that you notice a little bit of spiraling in the spine as you come to each side, turning the head. Lovely. And you're welcome to continue with this glidey, slidey movement, or you might find it's really delicious just to stay down on one side for a while. And take a few breaths and then begin moving again. So you take it, I'll leave you for a few moments to choose because it's quite a nice movement, this. Very, very lovely. And then when you're ready, and both knees are up, sliding your feet away and allowing yourself to rest, the whole body extended. And it may be, or it may not be, that you feel a difference now in the relationship between your body and the floor. And what do you notice about your breath? And are you honouring your intention for this practice today? Or maybe your intention, your sankalpa has changed along the way, which should be fine. And then in your own time, rolling over to one side and helping yourself up. And for this part of the practice, we need to roll the mat or fold the mat in half. So you can just sit on the end of the mat with your legs extended. And we're going to do quite a lot of sliding with our feet and legs on the floor. So you might want socks on for this. It depends on the surface that you have. Basically, you want as much slide as possible. You can rest back on your hands. Lovely to see you all, by the way. Beautiful. So you might want, if you weren't here on Monday, you might want to watch me first and just join in when you're ready. So we're going to begin this movement with the right leg with the toes. So you're going to begin to curl the toes in of the right foot. And it's a bit like imagine your right foot's an ice cream scoop. You curl it in towards the left and then slide that right foot up the inside of the left leg. And then you slide it back again and bring it back to neutral. That's all you're going to do. Don't worry about the pelvis now. We're just leaning on our hands. So you're scooping ice cream with your right foot all the way up the inside of the left leg, not necessarily touching it. And then returning. So you can see that this is a movement to externally rotate the right hip again. Your hips should feel very, very adored by the end of this class. Great. Take a few more rounds. Again, the aim isn't to open the hip as much as possible. The aim is to go slow and to notice. And I'm very interested in the way that the movement in the toes initiates the whole of the movement up the foot, the shin, the leg to the hip. Slidey, glidey. And I'm well aware that for some people this practice is frustrating. People want to go into more conventional yoga poses, flip around a bit. If you're one of those people, that's fine. Just observe your reactions, your responses. So I'm going to do it anyway. And then rest the right leg. Rest the right leg. And we'll do the same with the left leg. When you're ready, scoop the foot in, starting with the toes. And then returning. Beautiful. You're just breathing freely. You don't need to worry about synchronizing the breath for this movement. Just a couple more on the left. And then resting both legs long. Now the opposite movement is for some people going to be a little bit tricky, potentially, and I just cannot emphasize enough, just take tiny movements if you need to. So again, you're going to scoop the right foot, but now you're going to bring the foot out to the right beside the body and then back again. So for some people it might be you just come this far, little way, and that's fine. Some people might be swinging their leg all the way around. And if the movement's there for you, you can take a few really slow ones, then you might want to speed it up a bit to really feel the lubrication going on with this full internal rotation with the right hip. And you can also look over your right shoulder and see how your spine spirals a little. I wonder if you can probably hear my foot sliding on my matting, can you? Really loud by the mic. It's a really good indicator to notice. These movements are a really good indicator as to the health of your hips. Okay, let's take that to the left when you're ready. Remember to start with the scoop of the foot. Have a little spiral with your head when you bring the foot around to the left. See if you can enjoy the movement. Find some, well, relative freedom in the movement. And it might be different on each side. Wonderful. Just take a couple more on the left. And then rest both legs. And come to lying down, still with your legs off the mat. Because we're going to do the same movements lying down, and they'll probably feel different. Take your arms wherever they feel comfortable. And then begin to scoop the right foot up the inside of the right leg as the knee comes out to the side. And return it back again. Foot to vertical. As you do this movement, are you aware of the thigh bone, the head of the thigh bone, sliding in the hip socket? So as you straighten the leg and take your toes to vertical, can you feel the thigh bone internally rotating in the hip? And don't worry if you don't notice, it doesn't matter at all. Your body will know. And in your own time, just straighten the right leg and continue that on the left side. Very gentle, very soft. Breathing freely. Okay, making this one your last one. And then we do those reverse movements. So beginning to curl your right toes, turn the foot into the left, and then slide the foot around to your right hip or as far as it goes for you. And then back again. And watch the body spiral, the spine spiral as you do this. We're not trying to keep the right hip pasted to the floor. You can lift it. And breathe and find your quality of movement here. Excellent. And backing off, of course, if you feel any pain. Wonderful. I've just realised that Liz and Karen, you have two different cameras going on. Okay, and then if you'd like to straighten out the right leg and repeat that on the left. And it's not like you're trying to force through anything. The minute you come against any obstruction, just watch that obstruction and maybe release back away from it. We're looking for complete ease. I'm just taking a couple more on the left. And then taking a moment with both legs extended again. And then we're going to have a little bit of fun trying to bring both of these movements together. So you just imagine you're in a pond and you're a frog imagine you're a frog, I think. And as you inhale, bring both feet up the midline together. Knees are out lovely. You can tilt the pelvis as you do this. And as you exhale, slide the legs away. And then bring the feet up the sides. Whoa, and your knees are together. And you won't come as far probably now with both legs together. And then slide them away. Come up the middle. Exhale, slide them away. Knees together, feet out to the sides. Now I personally find that really quite uncomfortable. I don't know about you. See if you can find some enjoyment in just exploring this swimming frog movement, or whatever water animal works for you. Fantastic. And then can you come to resting your legs out long again? And we'll add a slight change to that same movement. I'd like you to bring both feet up the middle. But here with your knees out, bring your knees together, slide your feet out to the sides, and then slide your feet away long. And then bring your legs together again. Inhale, bring your knees to get your feet in, your knees out. Exhale, knees together, feet apart, and slide the feet away. And continue like this, just a slight shift. A little bit more internal rotation at the top. And if you're tired, you can stop, or you might like to take a few more rounds. This is the end of these types of movements. We're going to move into more conventional yoga now. And if you're not already, just allowing yourself a rest with both legs extended. And take a few lovely full breaths in and out. If you want to take those ha breaths, it'd be a good time to do it. So I don't know about you, but the whole of my lower body feels revitalized now. Actually a bit of a symphony going on from all the way down. From the pelvis to the toes. I don't know if you're the same. No hurry at all. But when you're ready, bring your knees in towards you. And just have a very gentle rock from side to side. Might be nice to draw circles with your knees to massage over your lower back after all that movement it's had. And then circling your knees in the opposite direction. And we're going to meet on all fours, and you could roll over to one side or you could roll up and down the spine a little. Take your time, we've got all the time in the world. And of course, once you're up, extend your mat again. Fantastic. Everyone okay? Any indication? Brilliant, thank you. I knew it would be you, Ali. So, knees under your hips, hands under your shoulders. So we've done a lot of pelvic tilting on the back, and now we've really freed up the hips and the lower back on the floor. What does your cat-cow feel like? You want to just allow the breath in to tilt the pelvis forward so your belly releases to the floor, your chest brightens, and then allow the breath out to tilt the pelvis back. Chin in towards your chest. And I'd like you to decide this morning on your rhythm. Do you want this to be quite rapid? Or are you feeling really like luxuriating in every millimeter of the movement? Spinning it out. Just taking a few more. Allow the breath to move the body. And then meeting me in a neutral spine. And beginning to take little circles with your hips. Imagine that you have a tail. And the tail is a paintbrush and you're drawing circles on the wall behind you. And they might be really tiny. They might get a bit bigger. And as you do this, notice how the weight moves from your one hand to the other, from one knee to the other. And then please reverse the direction of the circles. Lovely. Come back to neutral. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, slide back to child's pose, but take your right arm behind the body with you. And then inhale, sweep the right arm over as you come up. And exhale, slide back. So we're bringing a little bit of movement now into the shoulder joint, into the ribs. Should feel quite nice on the right side. Breathing freely. And don't feel you've got to be in a hurry. Making this your last one on the right side. Wonderful. And then we'll take it to the left. Inhale. Exhale, come back with the buttocks and the left hand. Inhale, come up. Really sweeping movements. just doing one more. And then sliding yourself back to rest in a child's pose of your choice. Your knees could be together. They could be apart. You could have hands under your head or arms extended. And take a little while to really melt in this pose. All the tissues of your body melting towards the floor. Breathing fully into the back body, the lower back, the bottom of your ribs, the mid back, and all the way to the upper back and shoulders. Breathe into your armpits. Almost feel the breath as a wave filling from the bottom up, the whole of your abdomen, whole of your torso. And then emptying from the top down. Beautiful. If you'd like to join me coming back up to all fours, and if it's right for you today, curling your toes under and making your way up to a downward dog. So if it's not right for you, child's pose is lovely, or you can come back to some cat-cow movements. But for those of you who've decided to come into downward dog, can you make it your pose? So I'm going to leave you a little bit of time to freestyle. You might want to really bend into your knees a lot. You might want to bend into one knee and then the other. You might want to move from side to side, little twisty dogs. 5 full breaths in whatever you're doing. I'm really looking for as much length in the spine as possible. And if you need to tilt your pelvis forwards and bend your knees, then do that. Take one more full breath in. And then everybody breathe out, drop your knees. And very slowly roll over the front of your body. Make contact with the floor as you come slowly all the way down. And place your hands underneath your forehead. On the next inhale, lift your head and your hands off the floor. And exhale, slowly come back down. Only come a little way, you don't need to come high. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come up. Can you feel the strength in your back muscles? Exhale, come down. And take a full breath in and out here. And slide your hands by your ribs. Inhale to all fours. And exhale either to child's pose or back to a downward dog. And again, take 5 breaths in your downward dog. And please don't feel you have to be here. You can be on all fours or child if you prefer. Stretching and breathing fully. It can be intuitive. You can add your own little twirls, frills. It's your practice. One more inhale. And then exhale, drop your knees again. And roll slowly over the front of your body. Aware of every vertebrae as you come down, maybe. And this time, slide your arms down beside you, palms are facing up. on the breath in, I'd like you to lift everything up, the legs, the arms and the head. Toes and fingers are splayed. And then breathe out, relax. And breathe in, lift. Whole back body energized. Breathe out, come down. And then breathing in, lift. And for those of you who want to, staying here between 3 and 5 breaths. Keep drawing the shoulder blades down the spine. Retract the shoulder blades. Engage all the muscles in the back body. And smile the collarbones and smile your face. One more breath in. And then breathe out, release. Bring your hands underneath your forehead. As you feel the whole body now. Slide your hands by your ribs. Inhale to all fours. Either come to your child's pose or take a downward dog. 5 breaths. One more breath in. And then for the last time, drop your knees and roll slowly down over the front of your body. Wonderful. If you don't have any shoulder problems here, I'd like you to interlace your hands on your lower back. If you do have shoulder problems, take one of the previous versions, arms down by the sides or hands underneath your head. And we're going to come into snake if you're interlacing your hands. And this means you push your toes into the floor, your pubic bone into the floor, and then roll your shoulders towards your ears. Inhale. And as you exhale, draw the shoulders back as you lift the head and the chest off the floor, pulling your hands past your tailbone towards your heels. And if this is available to you, taking 5 breaths here. If it's not, absolutely fine to rest or take one of the other versions. One more full breath in. And then gently, whichever version you've taken, release and bring your hands underneath your forehead. And breathe. You can allow your heels to drop out to the side, separate your legs a bit. And breathe your belly into the mat. And come to the top of a breath in. Pause, and then take a long sigh. 2 more. When you're ready, hands down by your ribs. Inhale to all fours. And exhale to downward dog now, just to can't think of the right word. To move to standing. It's a word beginning with T that just won't come to me. Looking in between your hands and either stepping or taking baby steps to walk your feet into your hands. Feet are parallel, hip distance apart. Just allow your shoulders to drop. Your knees can be a little bent. And then maybe you have a sense of the whole of the upper body cascading and pouring out of the pelvis. And you might even find you want to sway a little bit from side to side. It's absolutely fine. Wonderful. And either with your hands to your lower legs or your fingers to the floor, on the next breath in, you are going to straighten your legs and lift your chest. Nice long spine. And exhale, draw yourself back down, navel drawing into the spine. Let's do that 2 more times, very mindfully, very slowly opening. Imagine you're a jackknife, and exhale, close. Opening. And close. And then pressing into your feet, inhale, come all the way up, bringing your arms over your head. And exhale, hands to your heart, and take a moment to feel the body standing. It's taken us a while to get here. Notice how the weight of your body falls through your hips and your legs now, after what we've been doing. Notice the connection with the feet to the floor. And then we'll come to a little bit of balancing, but with some moving breath work in the balance. So we're bringing the external rotation into play in a few versions of tree. So if you need to hold onto a wall, that's absolutely fine. And I want you to really engage all the muscles of the left leg. Maybe spread your toes, really plant the foot down. And then take the right knee out. So all of that movement that we did on our backs and sitting. Maybe you feel a nice opening now in this right hip. And it may be that you stay here with the heel into the ankle, the toes into the floor. Or maybe you slide the foot up a little. Looks like I'm not going to. But please don't put your heel into your knee joint. And then I'd like you to keep your right hand to the hip as you take your left arm down by your side. Notice the quality of your breath. And then slowly on the inhale, lift your arm up to the middle, to the ear. And then exhale, bring it right over to the right. And then inhale, come back. Exhale down by your side. And keep breathing like that. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And this time, if it's right for you, inhale and exhale and stay in this version. You take your thumbs and your forefingers together. Rest your right hand on your thigh. And come to your own version of stillness, even if you're moving in and out of the pose. And then if you're able to, inhale, take both arms up together. Take a full breath in, and then both arms come out to the side and you slide your right foot down. And notice how you feel. And you might find there's a little bit of, you need to just twirl around a little bit in your left ankle. Have a little bit of a shake. Okay, let's take that to the other side. Power up the right leg, take the left knee out. Come as high up the leg as you want. Left hand to the hip, right arm to the side of the body. And it's really challenging to take these breathing movements while in tree, at least I find. Inhale, come up about level with your ear. Exhale, sweep over to the left. Inhale, come halfway back. Exhale, down by your side. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come over. Inhale, come back. Exhale, down by your side. Inhale, come to your ear. Exhale, come over to stay. Maybe thumbs and forefingers lightly together. Oh, I'm all wobbly. Left hand resting on your thigh. And breathe. Are you soft in the back of your throat? Do you want to maybe lift both arms up together? Take a breath in, and then everybody release. Have a little shake. That's the only standing pose we're going to do. We're going to come down to the mat, and you could just sit down, or you might like to join me in a little vinyasa to come down to the mat. So you're standing at the front, inhale, lift up. And exhale, fold. Inhale to a flat back. And exhale, step yourself back to a downward dog. And take your hands and your feet wide apart, mat distance apart. Or come into a wide-kneed child's pose. And breathe here, just 3 full breaths. Really strong in the arms and lifting your sitting bones up high. 1 more breath in. And then gently drop your knees. And come to sitting with your legs extended. And it may be you're going to need a little cushion or a block here. And I'm also aware that anyone with any knee troubles is going to need to take a variation of this pose. So we just worked with external rotation up in our Vrksasana, up in our tree. Now we're going to do a classical internal rotation pose by bringing the right foot by the thigh. So we're bending the right knee. Now, if that's just absolutely, you cannot get anywhere near that pose and it hurts the knee, just take an external rotation, bring the foot into the thigh. And I know for some people this pose, this is half hero's pose, it really hurts the ankle and the foot. And you could take a little rolled up flannel or something, towel underneath the foot if you wanted. And I also know that I used to have a tendency of tilting right over to the opposite side. And if that's happening for you, take a block or a cushion and just wedge it underneath your left buttock. So you begin to feel both sitting bones rooting down. Lovely. So we sit upright to begin with. And as I cannot overemphasize it, you don't want to put up with any pain in the right knee at all. If you're able to, pull your left toes towards you to engage the left leg. And I actually really like to take my hands at the top of the thighs, fingers pointing inwards, to turn the flesh inwards, almost turn your thigh bones a little inwards here. Helps. Lovely. Take a breath in, nice bright chest, and then breathe out gently. Gently walk your fingers forwards a little or a lot. And there's not a lot of room for movement for most people here. Absolutely fine if you stay up. Maybe some of you can reach the left foot. And all sorts of things start happening here. We start clenching our jaws. We start thinking, oh, I can't do this. Someone else can. And what happens if you simply drop into your own felt experience of the pose and begin to come back to those extended exhalations? You can even count again. Maybe count in for 3 and out for 6. Keep releasing in the hips. I know there's a tendency to hold tension here. Take one more full breath in and a long breath out. Lovely. And then very slowly bring yourself back up again. And we're going to come back. And again, by the way, if you have a bolster, it'd be really nice to have a bolster here. You could take a restorative version, although we're not going to stay for too long. Some of you might just bring your hands behind you, and that's plenty, because you really feel it at the top of the, on top of the right thigh. Some of you will come down to your forearms. Some of you will come all the way down. Again, no pain in the right knee, please. Come out of the pose if there's pain in the right knee. And you can take a few breaths with the left leg extended, or it might be really nice to bend the left knee and take the left foot to the outside edge of your mat. And then allow the left knee to drop into the middle. See how that feels. Some of you will love this and some of you will definitely not love it very much. Whichever version you're in all of those, can you soften and drop right into the breath again? Extend the exhalations. Where are you holding on? Taking one more full breath in and a long breath out. If you're all the way down, you're going to need to engage your abdominal muscles a little bit. Push into your elbows and slowly, slowly come all the way up. Fantastic. And then take your right foot, bring it around and place it over the left leg. And place your left elbow around the left knee. So the left leg is long. Lovely. Really hug the right thigh in towards you. And then inhale, lift up the right arm. And exhale, take a little twist to the right. Hand behind you. And please don't strain the neck or your eyes. Only go as far as feels right. Lovely. And I can see some of you at an angle leaning back, and that's absolutely fine. You have more opening there for the ribs. You don't have to be vertical. And stay with the slow, long exhalations. Releasing up through the roof of your mouth. Soften the epiglottis in your throat. One more breath in. And then breathe out. Release back to the front. And then release the right leg and give the ankle, the knee a little bit of love, a little bit of a rub before we bring all of that to the other side. I hope that's all okay. I know these internal rotations are challenging. So if you have a challenge with the left side, bring the foot into the thigh. If you don't, and you can take the foot around to the edge, around to your left hip, that's fine. Remember, you can wedge under the right buttock if you need to. And take a moment to settle. Pour down through the hips. Right toes coming towards you. Take a breath in, lovely long spine, lovely and bright. And then gently come forwards, either a little or a lot. And breathe. And just see if for a few breaths you can really let go through your exhalations. One more full breath in and a long breath out. And gently, gently coming back to vertical. And choosing, so you know what's coming now. You choose if you want to just lean back a tiny bit, if you want to settle onto a bolster, if you want to come onto your forearms, or maybe all the way down. If you want to, you bend up your right knee and take your foot to the outside of the mat and allow the knee to drop into the center. It just accentuates the internal rotation on each side. And as I said before, some of you will love it and some of you won't want to do this. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, finding your way back up very slowly. Engage the abdominal muscles and bring your left foot over the right leg, right elbow around the left knee. Inhale, lift up the left arm, and exhale, take a little twist to the left. Don't force anything, you can lean back. Can you soften into your twist and give up the hard work, give up trying, and just enter into the sensation of it? There's absolutely nowhere to go. So there shouldn't be any arms in the air. Left arm should be round behind the body on the floor. That would have been a bit exhausting. One more full breath in. And then looking back to the front, release everything. Give your knees, your feet a little bit of a rub. Lean back on your hands, and it might be really nice to just circle in the ankles here. Gentle circling in one direction and then the other. And we're ready for relaxation, but if there's anything, I can see some of you, because those last poses are quite full on, some of you are intuitively doing things with your body that you want to do. So please do that. If you feel like coming to a gentle forward fold or a happy baby, might be really nice. Whatever you need in order to be able to then come down to relax. Please make sure you're warm enough. Make sure you're really comfortable. And allow your feet to just drop out to the side unless you're coming to seated meditation. And so it's been quite a varied, long practice. So take time to come back to that starting point of simply observing your body against the mat, or the bolster, or whatever it is that you're resting on. And drop your attention inwards again. Noticing sensation, noticing the breath. No counting now, no pauses, just a natural feather-like breath. Notice any emotions that are present, any thoughts. And if it's relevant for you, holding your intention close, your sankalpa, right in the body. And because the sun is shining bright today, I wanted to read a poem I often read by Mary Oliver. You can die for it, an idea or the world. People have done so brilliantly, letting their small bodies be bound to the stake, creating an unforgettable fury of light. But this morning, climbing the familiar hills in the familiar fabric of dawn, I thought of China and India and Europe, and I thought how the sun blazes for everyone just so joyfully as it rises under the lashes of my own eyes. And I thought, I am so many. What is my name? What is the name of the deep breath I would take over and over for all of us? Call it whatever you want. It is happiness. It is another one of the ways to enter fire. You're welcome to stay as long as you like, resting. When you are ready to come out, though, beginning to take a few slightly deeper breaths, feeling the rise and fall of your abdomen with the breath, and choosing your own ritual of movement, as you move out of your relaxation to move into the rest of your day. Any stretches, any little circling in the joints, maybe giving yourself a hug with your knees into your chest, a little roll around. You might like to roll over to one side. Take a few moments in a fetal position before you come to sitting with your hands in front of your heart space. Maybe your eyes are closed. Taking a few moments to simply notice how you feel, your body, your breath, your mind. sense of the space in the room, and the sense of us all practicing together. You don't feel very far away to me. And take a full breath in towards your heart space. And as you breathe out, bowing your head, chin to your chest, emptying your lungs completely. And breathing in, lifting your head gently and opening your eyes into the rest of your morning. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.